We gotta talk about Shadow and Bone.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
so season 2 is coming out in March. All right, so
I'm surprised this got a season 2. There weren't a lot of people talking about this.
There was
we
not.
did a video on it, and it got us like 2 views. or
Yeah.
something.
So, but I wanted to put it out there because me and you watched the whole first season. You read the book, I think.
I did.
And Joe, you have not. But I will say this. With the fold, with the concepts, with the Grisha, with the normies or whatever, the regular people, the heists that are mixed in here, this is a complex, interesting story.
Yeah.
I think this is my position. I want you to share yours. I think the characters are lacking, and maybe the writing for the characters is the thing that's lacking. I don't know.
So,
But, I mean, the villain's awesome. The
Yeah.
guy who created the Fold, who survived at the end of season 1, spoilers,
Prince Caspian.
Prince Caspian.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
Caspian.
He is
What's
a
his
very
name?
engaging character.
I always forget.
But he's also the villain, and he's way more interesting than the lead.
So let me say this about the
IMDb.
show. It seemed to have come out in this time of before the like identity politics invaded everything.
Right.
So while the movie has certain Hollywood things,
Hey.
ooh, really zoom in there.
Would you stop giving
Ben
me...
Barnes.
Hell, about
I
the
want to look
zoom
at
in.
Ben, not
All right.
not this girl. I want Ben.
Okay,
Ben
Ben.
Barnes.
What of it? He's an engaging character in the show.
He is. So this movie doesn't do too much of the identity politics or the woke Hollywood stuff.
Oh no, they made a good character.
And
They have a good
it's,
character.
but the characters are engaging enough. I think there's stories that are really enjoyable. And I will say, don't get on me for this, but the story does take a detour to talk about these other 2 characters.
Which ones? We talking about them?
No,
Jasper
no.
and Kaz?
No, those are the heist characters.
Right.
It talks about these other 2 characters. One is a like a blood render or something that
Right.
can affect your emotions and stuff, and the other is from another country who what they do is they capture and
Nina.
Yeah, Nina and the other guy. They kind of go on this adventure together.
I think it's Matthias
Yeah.
that captures Nina.
Yeah, they go on this adventure together, and it's this love story,
That leads
right? But now it ties in later.
later.
But it's one of my favorite parts of the show because I like watching them fall in love.
Yeah.
And even though that's one of my biggest criticisms of The Last of Us,
Right.
is taking away from our primary characters.
For some reason.
This also tells a different story of like the relationship between this other country and the Grecians.
Yeah. So it's the non-Grisha basically want to annihilate and think that the Grecians are witches and should be killed.
Yeah.
It's like it's the prejudice thing, right?
But the story I think the story is overall enjoyable. And having read the book is boring.
Oh, really? Is the show better than the book?
Yes, because
That's
the
crazy.
book focuses entirely on Alina as she goes to learn about her magic power,
Right.
and that's it.
Which she's the sun summoner, by the way.
Yeah, you
is what-
spend time with her throughout the
She's the
entire
savior.
book,
Yeah.
and it is boring. Whereas in the show, you get her, you get her friend, who
is this guy.
Maul. You get Maul, and then you get the crows. So Kaz, Jasper, and Inej.
Yeah.
And of course Nina and Matthias. There's a lot in the show. It's a lot more complex. It's enjoyable.
I'll say this. Okay, I think they were trying to do the Game of Thrones thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, they were bouncing around from character to character really fast, and I don't feel like I've grabbed onto anybody. Like, I don't think I've resonated or care about anybody in this show
So
yet.
I
We're
like-
already going into season 2.
I like Maul. I like Kaz.
But you actually felt connected with them?
Yeah.
Like you... Because I watched it, and I'm like, I'm trying to invest in the story, and it's like, as I'm getting close to a character, they switch and tell a whole nother story for 2 episodes. And I'm like, where the frick am I going? Like, they're doing the too many characters Game of Thrones thing and not doing it right.
I like the side characters. The main character, she's the girl who is the key to everything. That trope, and it's annoying. But they also, in the end, they don't win. they just don't lose either. They escape.
Yeah.
Which is more interesting than they also don't do this thing where when she uses her power at the end and she defeats the bad guy, she doesn't just like destroy the fold.
No, she says it's too strong
It's
and
too
I'm too
strong.
weak right now.
I can't do it. I need to get better at this, which is
hold
good.
on. To be
Hold on,
fair,
wait a minute.
that is the same storyline as Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right. Yeah, you got to
I need to train.
You got to train. You got to get better. And, you know, I think there's enough through lines. There's enough character development for all the side characters to make it interesting enough to have a season 2. And it's at least this season that came out how many years ago, too?
No, it was
Year and a
like
half?
a year and a half.
I think it's enough.
Maybe only a year. I don't know.
It's enough to go for a second one, but I'm worried that the second one is going to be like Rings of Power.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe.
These characters have depth. They have more depth than Rings of Power characters.
Okay, General Kiergan, he's actually interesting and has discovered something new about himself at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically the powers of the fold that his ancient being character ended up creating through an emotional traumatic event. He almost dies, but he survives at the end of season 1 and ends up finding a new power about himself.
Mm-hmm.
He can basically take the dangers of the fold with him. He doesn't have to bring people into the fold to catch them, right?
And there's a lot about his character that is understandable.
Yeah, and
right?
And sympathetic.
And
very
he's
sympathetic.
He's like, look at all these countries around our country. And they all want something. They all want to take advantage of us, but we have this large, massive weapon that's
barrier.
This barrier that we could move around and use to control people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we don't have to let them push us around because we have this, and I can control it. So, what's the problem?
Let's use
here?
it to our advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I although he might have some screwy ideas, as a person, I mean, he was very he almost didn't feel like a super old character, because you would imagine a super old character is so set in their goals and mindset because they've been around for so long. He felt like a 30-something-year-old man who could change based on an experience he had, whereas you don't see that as much with ancient beings.
Yeah.
Like Dracula's not going to stop sucking people's blood
I
because
also I think
he found somebody that he kind of liked.
I think
know what I mean?
Kaz is an interesting character. I think he's going to be
Mr.
He's kind of
Limp.
like what's his face in Arcane? He's like a
what's his name?
The villain.
Silco?
Silco.
Yeah.
He's like a Silco character, and I like that character. He's he's kind of like good.
He's a little young. He looks like Babyface a little bit.
Yeah, he's young.
He looks like you. He looks
really
like he could
does.
be your age.
You could play
This
that
guy,
character.
He's like your age, and he's supposed to be like a genius. He has a limp. He dresses like an old man, but he looks like you. It's like if you put on a top hat and a suit and had a cane.
Yeah, I like him because he's an
I'll
intelligent
accept
character who
I don't know this character, but okay.
He looks like a boy.
He knows how to strategize. He knows what he wants. He's very much like Silco, and I think he's going to be a more interesting character moving forward. And from what I've heard, a lot of people like the Crow's books better than the Shadow and Bones books.
Which maybe that might lead to them getting their own Netflix season.
If this is good.
If Shadow and Bone season 2 works. But that's all. I mean, that's all I really wanted to cover. I just wanted to share a few thoughts before season 2 came out, get a refresher, and help people understand kind of the concepts of it if they haven't seen season 1. So if you're interested, you can pursue it.
Yeah.